Hi, I'm Courtney Reed, and today I'll be talking about gun control. Or rather, people control. I feel like we've all heard the saying, guns don't kill people kill people. And this is 100% true. A gun cannot physically harm a person just because it wants to. There has to be a person behind the gun pulling the trigger and doing the damage. Now, people control is kind of out there, but I feel like it's an option that needs to be explored. It may not work, but at least we can say that we tried. In my opinion, if one life is saved from gun violence, then it's all worth it in the end. I and my classmates have lived through tons of gun violence. Looking on Twitter, on the internet, looking on the news every single day, saying, like, oh, another one. Instead of being like, oh my gosh, that's so terrible, people have lost their lives, it's almost like we've become numb to it. We're so used to it. It's always been like this, so why is it going to change? But I'm fed up, and it's not okay with me, and I don't think that it's okay with everybody else. Guns are something that affect us all and our safety. So in the speech, I'm going to be talking about the history of guns in America, how easy it actually is to buy a gun, and how this affects us all as Americans. So let's start at the beginning, the Constitution. The Constitution does give us the right to bear arms. But did the Founding Fathers mean AR-15s? I don't actually think so. The Constitution was written before guns are as dangerous as they are now. If the Founding Fathers were alive today, I think they would have clarified the right to bear arms as the right for militias to bear arms against their oppressors. To quote the Constitution, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Different people interpret this different ways, but it says to me that the militia has right to bear arms, not every single person. This was created in a time where we needed militias to protect ourselves from England because they were doing such terrible things to us and we had no way of protecting ourselves. But now we have an army for that. So if anybody were to ever threaten us, then we send the military out to do that. We don't ourselves go out and fight. If that makes any sense? The guns aren't as needed as we all think that they are. So guns started to become more mainstream as we expanded west. The Wild West was wild. It was a lawless place. And people with guns could protect themselves and their loved ones. They could protect themselves from the elements, from animals, from Native Americans whose lands they stole. But we don't need to even talk about that. And industrialization also made guns very public. Because of mass production, it made them cheaper, and with cheaper guns, it made them easier to obtain, easier to buy, so more people could afford these guns. But how easy is it to get a gun now? So, have you ever heard of a gun show? And I'm not talking about flexing your muscles, I'm talking about an actual show where they go and gather up a bunch of people who have guns, gun dealers, and they allow them to sell them in these big warehouses. So anybody can legally buy a gun at a gun show with or without a background check. Actually. This is a loophole that President Obama tried to stop, but it was vetoed by Congress. This allows anyone anywhere to buy any type of gun they want, especially since gun shows are not as regulated as they should be. But you see, background checks at gun shows are rarely ever done, even though they only take a couple of minutes. Information that is required on your background check is your name, address, race, and your social security number is optional. The one number that can identify you out of millions of people is optional. So the National Instant Criminal Background Check System allows too many people to buy guns, in my opinion. Less than 1% of people trying to buy guns are denied solely because of their background checks. This is a quote from the New York Times. If a purchaser has been convicted of a felony or misdemeanors with sentences exceeding 2 years or has been declared mentally defective by a court, then he or she won't pass the background check. But out of 100 million background checks that have been conducted in the past decade, only 700,000 people have been denied. Less than 1 million people have been denied to purchase a gun in the last 10 years. That means that 70,000 people a year are not allowed to buy guns, but everybody else is. So if anyone can buy a firearm, how does this easy accessibility affect us? So let's take a look at other countries and their gun laws. Other countries went immediately into action after mass shootings. Take Australia, for example. Since the ban on guns 20 years ago, there have been no mass shootings. In 20 years, Australia has not had one mass shooting. If there are two places that everybody in this country should feel safe, it is at church or wherever you practice your religion, and at school. Now, if gunmen will shoot up a school or a church and kill people, then no place is safe. So all that I'm saying is, why can't we try? Why can't we make people have background checks that require their social security? Or if somebody's trying to buy an assault rifle, have them do a nice mental check, a mental exam, because you can say that it's for hunting, but do you really need an automatic weapon that fires off 50 rounds in 10 seconds to kill a pig or a hog or a doe? No. And if you think that you need that, then you obviously aren't a good hunter. People do not deserve to die at the hands of a deranged maniac. Our gun laws don't protect us. They protect the shooters, because they are allowing these people to buy these weapons completely legally. But at the end of the day, we can all agree that this is a very serious problem. We should not be afraid to go to school or to church or a nightclub. Something must be done. Why can't we just try something? Anything. People control, gun control, ban the guns, ban the people, ban the gun shows, something. Some legislation that needs to be put into place to protect us. I'm tired of being scared. I am tired of people my age and younger dying at school. They die for no reason, and nobody is doing anything about it. They are letting them die in vain. And just to clarify, I'm not saying take away everybody's guns. I'm not saying that. But I am saying certain people should never be allowed to buy a firearm.